Escort. Probably the car that was built for the masses from the late 60s all the way through the 70s, 80s and 90s. A multitude of different generations. But it's the Mark 1 and Mark 2 Escorts are now fabled with their rallying, racing history. They're the ones that most people want. And this week, lucky enough to get hold of this very special, very bespoke, modified Mark II. A very late Mark II in 1980, and not in the 3-door, but in the 5-door version. And today we're going to have a look around this car, see all the work that's gone in to make this car very unique, very special, but road legal. And then we'll take it on the roads and see what it drives like. I can't wait. Welcome to this week's Fast and Fun. So because this car is so unique, really a race car that is road legal, then the owner here, Sean, is going to take us round the car, because I think for me there's a vast amount of work that's gone in here. This is a rolling shell, but everything that's been done to it. So welcome to the channel, Sean.
Thanks for having me, Rich.
And just for the viewers then, so this is a 1980s?
Yeah, it's a 1980 4-door Ghia,
yep.
Originally in silver with a vinyl roof.
Wow, fantastic. With what engine was it this?
1600 Ford Crossflow.
Yep.
Which would have been on a 3236 Weber.
Yep.
So basically a family car from the 80s.
Yep, okay. And when did you get the car? When did you buy the car?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. And what was the state of the car when you bought it then?
So it was primer grey. It had a 1600 Crossflow in on twin 40 Webers.
Yep.
Stripped. It was stripped and caged at that point.
Yep.
But it was a very, shall we say, cheaply built car.
Yep.
Not anything like what it is now.
Right. Okay. And I assume with Mark 1s, Mark 2s, you don't get standard ones anymore, do you? They must be exceedingly rare.
They're very, very rare to find a totally standard and original one, as it should be, simply because a lot of people who own them use them on modern roads, and in my opinion, they just wouldn't work as they were standard.
Yeah. So when you bought it, was this your intention? You wanted to build, and when I say a race car, I'm talking about track days, I'm talking about hill climbs, I'm talking about Santa Pod. You've done a whole host of stuff, but you've definitely wanted to keep it road legal, haven't you?
It has to be road legal, because before I had this, I was doing a 100E Anglia for oval track hot rod racing.
Yeah.
And that was a pure racing car.
Yeah.
Now, to my mind, the problem with one of those is they're a paperweight.
Right.
Whereas this, I can take it out on a Friday night and go for some food in it. I can go for just a drive round and a bit of fun, go to a breakfast meet on a Sunday, and then when I need to, I can load it on a trailer, tow it to a facility, and for want of a better expression, abuse it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the colour, clearly with this Union Jack, is it transfer, this? Or
it's a big vinyl.
Yeah, big vinyl. It does make it absolutely stand out. And they've become so sought after these. And I'm also breaking my Mark 1, Mark 2 Escort virginity today, because I've never driven one either, which will be absolutely great. Although I have just done a quick test in the seat. The seat's been designed, it's for Sean, it's incredibly tight and snug, but it's a good job I'm quite on the light side, I think, to get in. So let's have a look around the car. Let's take us around the car and pick out some of the key features as we go around. Okay. We'll have a look at the inside. We'll also have a look under here, what is now in the car, and then we'll take it out for a drive. So let's start with the body shell. What condition was it in then, the actual bodywork? I mean, somebody once told me a funny story about a Mark 1, Mark 2 Escort. They're so expensive nowadays, is because if you bought one originally, you put it in a garage, and 20 years later you open your garage door, there'd just be a mound of rust there with a Ford emblem on top of it. And are these that bad for rust, or?
It depends how they've been looked after, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, for instance, with this, I will religiously, every year, take the wheels off it, jack it right up, get underneath it, and spray it. Right. Just to stop any rust coming into it.
And what are you using, like Lanagard?
Yeah, Lanagard underneath.
Yeah, okay. So 4 years ago you bought it. What was the condition of the bodywork then?
Very tidy, to be honest with you.
Was it?
It
Okay.
was. It had standard boot lid, standard. It was just a very straight, honest little car, and it was actually primer grey.
Okay. So why the 4-door version rather than the 2-door? Because surely you wanted a 2-door, didn't you? Or not?
I wasn't really, to be honest with you, I wasn't bothered. I bought this because it's what came up.
Right.
Obviously, everybody would like a 2-door.
Are the 2-doors much more expensive?
Yes.
Right.
A 2-door with this sort of spec, you're probably 25 grand plus.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But the 4-door, to me, it's different. It stands out.
And what's the physically now in the shell? Size, weight, rigidity. What's the difference between a 2-door and a 4-door?
Size-wise, absolutely nothing.
Okay.
They're the same length, width, height, everything.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, the 4-door is lighter. I'm not sure how much lighter.
Okay.
But they are actually a lighter shell.
Okay.
Which for drag racing, what I plan to do with it,
Yeah.
the less weight you got, the quicker you can get
And
off
is the
line.
roof line the same then?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Just longer doors.
Longer doors and different rear quarters.
Okay. All right then. Okay. And so, when did you decide to spray it then, and why blue? I have to say the blue is brilliant. I mean, it matches the Union Jack really, really well. But why blue?
Well, so when we was all locked down with COVID,
Yeah.
I just done the first round of upgrades on it. So the bigger things like that.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine likes doing bodywork. And I inquired him about spraying it, and obviously where everybody was shut down, we couldn't get no materials.
And he had a free tub of blue paint.
Well, I found one shop in Brighton Auto Panels and Paint, that were open, and this was the only Ford blue they had.
Right. So it is a Ford colour.
It is a Ford. It's
Okay.
335 Gentian blue, which is actually transit colour.
Right. Okay.
Because I wanted it baby blue, like a lot of the South London cars are.
Right.
But I could not get it. So
okay.
This is what I was able to get hold of.
During the COVID lockdown period.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got it. We got it on there, and it's. Well, I think it looks.
And you sprayed it first, and then did the transfer?
No.
This came first, did it?
No.
Roof?
So we sprayed him first, and the original plan was I wanted it straight blue.
Yeah.
But due to the fact, as it was a Gia and it had a vinyl roof on its standard, they suffer with.
So when you bought it, it still had the vinyl roof then? No, that had gone.
No, that had gone.
Yeah.
It had the roofs. The metalwork goes thin.
Yeah.
So if you look closely, you can actually see where the filler and the roof, the paint under the vinyl is cracked and lifted up.
Yeah.
And basically, it was to cover it up, really, because
It didn't look good enough.
No,
right,
it didn't.
got you.
Like you could see it miles off.
Yeah.
And I looked for a standard Ford vinyl roof because I thought I'll put it back to what it was.
Yeah.
Couldn't find one, so in the end, I took it to a company over Colford who do vinyls.
Yeah.
And said, look, I want it to mimic the vinyl roof, but can you put a Union Jack on there? Once again, just to make it stand out a little more.
Yeah.
And be different.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It looks great. Absolutely looks great. What about? Let's talk about wheels and tyres.
Yep.
Are these original?
No,
Mark II?
these are actually Compomotive mini lights.
Oh,
so
are they really?
They are pure competition wheels.
Okay. Okay.
7x13.
Yep.
And I use Nankang NS2R in 175 5013s for general.
Right.
I have got a set of slicks for drag strip use.
Right. Okay. And do you use the slicks for track or hill climbing
No.
or anything? No. That's just literally for going up Santipod or whatever.
Yeah, full-on slicks. Whereas
Yes.
these are road legal. They track well.
Yeah.
They're good on a racetrack, and they are quite good on the road.
Okay. And what about discs
So
and pads?
they were standard disc. They were standard cars with discs, solids.
Yeah.
This actually has 247mm by 21mm thick discs.
Yeah.
With Willwood midlight calipers, so 4-piston on the front.
Oh, the 4-piston.
Yeah.
So what does the car weigh, just for interest?
Around 850 kilograms.
Wow. Without you and I in it.
Yeah, without me and you.
Yeah. Wow, 850 kilograms. They were the days. Okay, let's take a look around the back of the car.
Yep.
The exhaust is, obviously it's pre-cat.
Yeah, pre-cat. So it's a big stainless steel manifold.
Yeah.
To a 2-inch straight centre section, and just a 2-inch off-the-shelf Escort Mark II Ashley back box.
Okay, so it's got a genuine Mark II back box. Okay, the rear. Tell me about the suspension.
It's standard Escort axle, so standard width Escort axle.
Yeah.
On 110-pound leaf springs.
So leaf springs on the rear. This is.
This is leaf springs on the rear.
But what does that make it handle like? For me, leaf springs is something from a bygone era.
Yeah, like trucks and Land Rovers.
Land Rovers, yeah.
So yeah, fair to you, it's not bad because we have got adjustable shocks on it. So we can set the shock hardness. So the 110-pound leafs work with the shocks.
Right,
and it also runs, it's our own take on an American traction bar called the Caltrax bar.
Right.
So when you launch it, obviously your rear axle tends to kick the front of the diff up.
Yeah.
So the bar puts the force back into the spring,
Yeah.
into the shell, which in turn presses the axle down and tries to lift the back of the car up. So it's forcing the axle and the tyres onto the tarmac.
Okay, so you're quite happy the way it's working then?
Yeah.
That setup. Okay, intriguing. Boot, nice and carpeted. Let's have a look at the boot.
No, not nice and carpeted at all. Standard locks all gone. Fiberglass boot lid, which weighs nothing. And
battery.
Yeah, we have battery with an isolator.
Big battery. Do you think? It looks really big to me.
It is a big one, but some of the older cars, they take a bit to get them started.
Yeah, yeah. And that's your fuel tank?
Yeah, that's a fuel tank, and that is a custom-made 8-gallon tank with an integral swirl pot down the bottom.
Okay.
And it was actually made to my own design for the car.
Oh, right, brilliant. And this fuel pump?
Yeah, fuel pump and the pressure regulator lives in the boot.
Okay, cool. All right. And is that where most people put them now?
Yeah.
Centre over the rear axle?
Centre over the rear axle. Because usually, if you can see the platform in here, it did have the big 12-gallon tank.
Yeah.
But I never filled it.
Yeah.
And
what's the point? Yeah, carrying around excess flipping fuel that you don't need.
And it just wasn't. I like to try and do things that people haven't done before.
Yeah.
So I had this tank specially made for the car to fit in the platform without me having to cut it out.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. I think then let's go and have a look at the fun end.
So the interesting thing here is actually the block and head castings are original.
Oh, right, okay.
It is a 711 crossflow block and head.
Yep.
However, that's where it stops.
Yeah.
Because it's got Lotus forged pistons in it.
Yeah.
It's got light and balanced crank and rods.
Yeah.
Big valve head, ultra ported big valve head, a rather large racing cam in it.
Right.
Twin 45 Webers.
And who's done most of the engine work on this?
My friend in Breen, Dave Fisher, who sort of tutors me a lot with the Escort.
Okay, so you're a local guy that you know. And I take it you've got a really good network. I would imagine the Mark 1, Mark 2 Escorts, close community, is it?
Yeah.
All helping each other out?
Yeah. Dave's business is doing old Fords up.
Is it?
So
right, okay.
He built the engine for me.
Yeah.
And it's just great to have an older generation bloke for me to learn off.
That you can then pass it, keep it and pass it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind that is a light and flywheel with a sintered race clutch.
So is this going to be really difficult with regard to engagement?
Yeah. It's on or off.
It's binary, yeah.
It's on or off.
I drove a Scooby Impreza STI that had one at the start of the year. I'll put a link up here to the video, and that was, again, it was quite difficult. You did get used to it after a while of driving it, but it was very much on off.
Yeah, it's very similar to this, and with the big cam, it just makes it harder.
And what sort of power have you ever had it on the dyno or not?
No, I haven't, not yet. It will be going to the rollers the start of next year.
Okay.
But as we've been so late this year building it, it's been running it in and checking it and make sure.
So how many miles has it done since the build then?
About 300.
Okay. And what's the running in process for this then? Is it 500, is it 1,000? Or is it...
Ideally 300.
Yeah.
Just check the valve lash on it, make sure they're not tightening up or opening up.
Yeah.
And then oil and filter. I'll cut the filter open to make sure there's no bits of bearing material in the filter.
Got you.
And if that all checks out fine, fresh set spark plugs and take it to the dyno and get it set up properly.
Yeah. Rev wise, what does it rev to?
The cam that's in it comes on about 3,750 to 4.
Can you feel it kick in?
Yes.
Yes.
You'll definitely notice a difference.
Yeah.
And then in theory, it will rev to about 8.5.
Well, but what are you revving it to at the moment?
At the moment, I'm being quite sensible. I'm keeping it 5 to 6.
Okay. Yeah. And then, right, tell me about the gearbox.
So it's an RS2000 gearbox.
Yeah.
Out of the different model, with an alley ball housing, and it's rebuilt with a straight cut internals kit.
So why? Okay, forgive my ignorance here. Why go straight cut? Because to me, that just means noise.
Yes, it does mean noise.
So what's the benefit of a straight cut? Why have you gone for straight cut?
Well, so the benefit of a straight cut box is there's less power loss.
Right.
The helical cut gears,
Yeah.
you lose quite a bit of your torque and your power just because of how the gears.
Just because they're not flipping.
Yes,
mashing.
that's right.
Yeah,
But with a straight cut, you lose all that. The downside is they're not the easiest to get into first gear.
Yeah.
And they are very loud.
Yeah. Okay. Which we will find out very, very soon. Okay. Well, is there anything else? I think that must be nearly it, apart from the inside. So, in fact, let's just pop inside and you can show us a few things that you've done. First of all, bolt-in full cage.
Yeah, 6-point bolt-in cage.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the generic Mark II cage. And it is actually, if you look where the rear hoop is, it is a 2-door roll cage.
Right. Okay. Got you. Because of what? More available for 2-door?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the ratio of... Does the Mark II community know what the ratio is between 2-door and 4-door?
No.
No. Okay.
It is, honestly, I think a lot of it is what people can get hold of at the time when they want to do it.
Yes, got you.
Because
Okay.
you can actually buy all the quarter panels and the doors to turn this into a 2-door.
Okay, right, wow, okay. The other thing that's screaming at me is this very figure-hugging, and I got in there earlier when Sean arrived, this Cobra seat, very imposing. This is new, is it, Sean?
Yeah, that was a new addition this year, just because I had, if you see on the passenger side, I have the Cobra Clubmans in there. I had 2 of those, and I actually went on track at Castle Coombe with it, and there just wasn't enough side support. And I've always liked these Halo seats.
Yeah.
So it had to be one of those.
Okay.
Which is properly bolted in on proper hardware with FIA side mounts.
Yeah, okay. And 4-point harness?
5-point on my side.
Oh, is it 5?
Yeah.
5 and 4 points on
and
the...
4-point on that side, just because the seats don't have a fifth belt
Right, okay.
facility.
And then extra things then, take us through the dials.
So, the original Escort dash, none of it worked. So I bought all these Autometer American racing gauges, including the 5-inch rev counter with shift light, GPS speedo, oil pressure gauge, water temp. I bought those. I actually made this dash myself.
Okay.
This is all my own work.
Looks cool. Looks good.
And it's function over form, but it's also pretty.
Yes.
You know, with the flocked dash top, just to keep the sun glare down.
Here, yeah, okay, yeah.
And the extra panel in the middle, all sprayed black to match.
Yeah. What speed is it?
4-speed box.
4-speed box. And why have you got 2 handbrake levers?
So the original Escort one here is a hand cable handbrake, which is just for MOTing purposes.
Yeah.
And scrutineers like you to have a secondary way of stopping the car if you lose hydraulic fluid.
Yeah.
This one is a fly-off hydraulic handbrake, which is used for staging on the start lines and locking the rear wheel should you need to flick around a bit quick.
Got you. So just pull, release.
Yeah, pull, release.
And then what's this that I bashed my left leg into? What's this?
That is what's called a line lock. So with drag racing, you have to stop in a burnout box to warm the rear tyres up.
Right.
So with that, you step on the foot brake, you flip him up, and it actually locks the front brakes on. so you can dump the clutch and spin the wheels up without even moving the car.
Brilliant.
And then just to release, you just knock it down and let the car...
That's it. Got you. Excellent. All these things. Oh, dear. Right. Look, enough talking. Let's take this out on some of those roads and see what this race car for the road drives like. as you probably guess now, instead of me sat in the Mark II, I'm actually sat in the barn talking to you. We did the static video first, we did the walk around, got all that footage really, really well. We then took it out onto some of our local roads, and unfortunately the car developed a problem with the gearbox. So as a result, we had to postpone doing the in-car drive. Sean's gone off to resolve the problem, which I hope he fixes and fixes soon. And when he has done, what we'll try to do then is get a date back in the diary to do part 2 of the video with me driving the car and giving you my open and honest thought. So, not all we wanted to cover, but hopefully it's given you an insight into that very, very, very special Mark II Escort. As always, thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe below if you haven't already done so. And we'll see you next week for another fast and fun video. Thanks for watching, guys.